Hey, this is Pradeep with Sensatura, and today I'm sharing my thoughts on the only fragrance I own from the luxury perfume collection of Celine. It is Nightclubbing from 2019. Perfumer is unknown, but you would always be made sure of the involvement of the creative director, Eddie Sleman. So far, there have been 14 fragrances under his tenure, if I'm not mistaken. The brand itself has been around for a while. They tried creating some fragrances in the 90s and 2000s. None of them took off from the looks of it. This collection from 2019 has done well for them. It really put them on the map to the point that now they are regularly in conversation when talking about designer exclusive fragrances, along with the likes of Dior, Hermes and so forth. As for my thoughts, I have done a dedicated video on the entire collection. To recall, I have a mixed stance on them. I think they are well-made, rich-smelling, understated fragrances. I enjoy Black Tie, Dame Paris, and a couple of fresher orange blossom creations myself. I also like the fact that they take from the olfactive journal of the house, plus from the experiences and memories of the creative director, be it the time of rock and roll glamour, particular spots in Paris, his favorite authors, artists, and so forth. They also persistently stick to a clear-cut signature aesthetic, be it the powdery orris, stylized moss, and the soft plush vanilla. In terms of presentation, the bottles are sculptural, heavy, well-designed. Probably some of the best looking amongst the designer exclusives. On the other hand, I feel like this style has been done before by some other brands a little better. So to revisit the same signature and just applying the Celine framework feels a bit repetitive for me. They can also be too soft, unengaging, and distant half the time. That's why I don't own many of them, especially for the price. Having said that, this one I think is an exception. It's fairly distinct in terms of composition. It's not too polite, tries to take some risks, relatively more interesting as a smell. Plus, I find it to be an engaging wearing experience overall, even recalling some scenarios from my life. Having said all that, what does it smell like? It is very much inspired by what's in the name, taking references from sort of upscale Parisian nightlife, legacy clubs and so forth. Right from the departure, the signature of the collection is evident. You get this somewhat makeup-y rice powder like orris, complementing the scent profile. What kind of bypasses through is this bitter, ashy galbanum. It's not like a springtime verdant greenness here. It's got some pungency to it, acrid, dusty, yet soft greenness. And this is when the ashtray filter cigarette, nicotine haze comes through. Now, this is how a lot of fragrances become predictable. After the opening, they tend to take on this sort of sweet, honeyed, bombastic, cherry tobacco route. That's the kind of scent profile that's been done over and over again. Instead, this one feels softer, rounder, plush, not that sweet at all. In fact, tobacco is not even mentioned in the notes, and yet it is clearly there. I don't smoke myself, but I've had people ask me if I had started when wearing this. Another friend who quit smoking was even put off by smelling this. So there is an unavoidable association. Just like some folks who don't drink coffee but like the smell, I like this smell quite a bit. So this ashy, airy, green cigarette smell with the powdery orris creates this kind of upscale, rich, smoker-like scent. Lots of musks with some dry, waxy vanilla helps to anchor the composition. There are some modern, stylistic, mossy nuances coming along. At times it gives the impression of cocoa and paper as it dries down. Throughout the day, it does not change drastically. If anything, the harshness and the greenness mellow down and becomes more about the recognizable musks from the collection. But that's about it. It's that scent of smoke, powder, and sweat that clings to you long after you have left the place. Additionally, I also find it to be evocative of a particular memory of mine. When I came to France for business school, it was very intense. I didn't have a lot of time to explore the city, or even had the money to do so for that matter. Not a big club going person either. Eventually, sometime during fall, some friends invited me to this restaurant club called Speak Easy in the 17th, I believe. And when we got there, you are expected to do this informal greeting in France, which is to give cheek kisses. And I had to wish some 30 people there. It was still kind of a new custom for me, so I still remember that experience. Apparently, some people spend 10 to 20 minutes greeting colleagues at work every day. That's a normal practice, especially in the south of the country. Maybe not so much after 2020. But yeah, I remember that feeling. It's kind of warm, sage green, nicotine smell, mixed with makeup and whatnot. Of course, off of women, inside this dim-lit, air-conditioned club at that time. Since then, I never expected to smell a fragrance that would recall that experience. That's why when I smell this, I could see the inspiration right away. Eddie Slimane very likely spent a lot of time in such ambience, going to upscale clubs, the kind that would have a theater in the front. Not to mention, the 60s up till 80s France is highly idealized by designers who are active today. I can even see kind of parallels between Nightclubbing and L'air de rien from Miller Harris. Of course, made in collaboration with Jane Birkin. This also has that moody, grey, cloudy, sort of effortlessly sensual, yet aloof portrait going for it. Even the contrived vanity aspect of that lifestyle is seemingly captured. There are still some people out there who really want to live in that era by the looks of it. They dress like that, they style their hair after actors from that time. These fragrances seem to totally match that lifestyle, including the models that Celine uses. For me though, it's an occasional indulgence, not something I would wear on a regular basis. It is a skin scent as far as the wearing experience goes. It feels nocturnal, for cold weather ideally. Totally unisex in the traditional sense. If anything, I would have liked a little more tenacity. Would have preferred if the green, ashy facets lasted longer instead of the musk-dominant dry-down. But I guess that would take away from the DNA of the collection. The pricing has also gone up. It was 195 euros initially, and now it is 270. I did not pay that. I would never pay retail for any fragrance at this point, but I like it enough to have it as the only fragrance from Celine. Following up, a creative director who has made this collection all about himself, almost in this autobiographical way, is going to be a tough act. Of course, I'm referring to Michael Ryder, the new creative director. We are yet to see a new fragrance under him, but I'm really curious about the next chapter of the brand. So, there you have it, my thoughts on Nightclubbing from Celine. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and ciao.